Hi guys, and welcome back to the Cornish Angler. Now, something a little bit different today. I've come away from the reservoir and I'm down at a lake near Hale called BK Fisheries, and I'm targeting some giant perch. Perch grow up to £5 in this lake, believe it or not. Lots of 2-pounders, lots of 3-pounders. So really there's a chance to catch a perch of a lifetime. Got down here nice and early, just kind of break of dawn, and I walked around the lake and just started throwing some ground bait and maggots in various different spots. There's a couple of stream inlets which obviously offer some nice fresh oxygenated water, so I think I'm going to try this later on. But first I'm trying a little spot on the back of the wind. There's a nice tree to my left hand side and a nice bit of open water to the right hand side. And there's quite a lot of fish showing when I first arrived, so I thought it'd be a good place to start. Since I've been throwing in some free bait, the fish have been showing quite regularly, so obviously a good number of fish down there, so hopefully we can get a few out for you today. So I'm really eager to get the rods out. Before I do that, I'll just go through my tactics for today. So I'm going to be fishing one rod with a float setup. Here I've got a Daiwa Ninja 10-foot match rod, so a nice little rod for float fishing with, and that's paired with a 4000 Ninja reel with some 6-pound line on. Got a size 10 hook to start with, because I'm fishing some prawn and some worm mainly. If I do struggle, I might swap that down to a 12 or a 14 and fish some maggot. On the second rod, I'm fishing a ledger setup. So I've upped the tackle a little bit. I've got an 11-foot Free Spirit River Tamer rod. It's a 1.5-pound test curve rod. This is loaded with 12-pound mono. I mainly use this for my tench fishing actually, but it's good fun for small carp. Also, I catch a big perch, it'd be fun for that as well. And also on this setup, I'm going to be fishing the underwater camera, hopefully try and get some footage of some big perch. So all I've done is I've ran the camera up the main line. I've then got a method feeder, which has two parts to play really. One, obviously to put some ground bait in there with some maggot and obviously some free bait. But also if I push the end into the camera there, it just helps the camera to sit nice and flush on the bottom. Otherwise it kind of ends up like that. You don't see anything but the silt. Coming off there, I've got a little quick change clip, quick change swivel, and I've got my hook link. That's 8-pound fluoro, little anti-tangle sleeve, just to cover the quick change swivel there. It's about 5 inches long, this hook link. I've got some mono, a little shot put, and I've got some braid. Okay, it's a little combi rig style. No crimps, I've just tied the braid onto the mono itself, onto the fluoro itself I should say. Okay, the idea of that is the fluoro helps to reset the rig. I've got a nice bit of supple movement at the hook end. Again, a size 10 hook, and I'm fishing a prawn on this one. I've got some raw prawns, I've got some cooked prawns. I've just hair rigged that on. So I might trim that down a little bit. It's quite a big bait for the hook, but I am after the big perch for that one. Now it's a very mixed fishery. There's carp to over 30 pounds in here. There's bream to 10 pounds. I think there's lots of rudd, roach, obviously perch. Not sure about tench. Probably some eels. There's a nice river that runs alongside the lake here. So yeah, could be some eels as well. So could be in for a real mixed bag. So I'm going to finish my coffee, put a bit more free bait in, get the rods out, and hopefully we can catch ourselves a monster perch. Right, so that is ready to go out now. I've got to say, I've left this really free running. I think a bit like pike, perch don't really like much resistance. So what I want is for that hook bait to be free running, picks it up, can drag that along with no resistance. I can lift the rod up and hook into it. Let's get this cast out. Right, just a small underarm flick out to my right hand side here. It's a lot deeper than it looks there actually. Right, let's set this one up on the bite alarm, get a float rod set up as well. So on the float set up, I'm going to start with my size 10 barbless hook and use a worm as a bait. Unfortunately, my order for my lobworms didn't come through, so I've had to raid my wormery and try and find the biggest worms I could find. Basically just nicking it through the worm twice. Sort out the line there we go. Big perch, here we come. Right, not the fish I was hoping to get, but at least I got a bite. This came on the bottom rod on the raw prawn. And there's a little bream, little silver skimmer. Probably getting on for about £1. Yeah, quite a violent take actually for a little bream. So yeah, not what I wanted, but at least it's showing the bait's working, tactics are working. Fingers crossed a big perch comes next time. So yeah, there's the hook bait. Nice big raw prawn on the combi rig. Let's get some fresh ground bait in, get that back out there. Right, not a lot's happened so far. I've had a couple of indications on the right hand rod. The prawn did come off and I brought it back in. Recast it out with a fresh prawn. And it's had a few twitches since then, so hopefully that rod will go soon. On the float, nothing's happened with the worm at all. So I'm going to switch over to a prawn this time. So I've just got a peeled, cooked prawn. Just going to nick the top off, make it slightly smaller, and yeah, just going to nick that through the top there. So it looks something like that. So the point is proud, not masking that at all. Cast that back out there. There's lots of fish showing still. There's lots of fish around. Just try and get them to take my hook bait. That came straight off. Let's try it again. Ooh, treat. Now my bottom ledger rod, I've actually brought in a bit closer to the margin on the right hand side. Seems to be a really deep corner here, whether I'm in the deepest part or not quite sure, but so I've brought it a little bit closer to the margin, fish a little bit shallower. There is a lot of fish showing up in the water, a lot of fish splashing out, swirling around my float, around all parts of my swim really. So I'm going to start chasing the fish around. I'm going to try and get them feeding in one spot if I can. But yeah, I've had quite a few twitches on this right hand rod since I've redone it. So I probably won't leave it too much longer. I'll reel it in, make sure my hook bait's still there. So yeah, it's looking promising. Also got the underwater camera on that bottom rod, so later I can see what sort of fish were pecking away at my hook bait, or are they just attacking my method feeder. But a few times now there's some little fish just scattering on the surface, kind of like they're being chased by something. So I think there are some perch around here. Just need a bit of patience, I think. So yeah, I think I'll redo the right hand rod in a second, and I'll show you my ground bait mix in a minute as well. Right, so in this tub, I've just got a fish meal based ground bait, some red and white maggot, and some little 2mm pellet. Bit of water in there, I've left it quite crumbly. I don't want it to sink into the bottom straight away. I want all these little bits and bobs just slowly sinking down, getting lots of attraction around the area. The fish seems to be up in the water, so it gives them a chance to grab it before it sinks down to the bottom. What I'm also going to do, find my pair of scissors, just going to chop up some of the bits of prawn, not tiny chunks, so a bit of extra bait, a lot of attraction as well, hopefully coming off these prawns. Obviously I'm using it as my hook bait. I'm trying to kind of get a taste for it and search it out. So I've got some of the raw and some of the cooked ones as well. And then I've just got some little worms from my wormery. In fact, what I'll do on the tray there. So again, more for attraction and scent rather than bait. So I'm not putting too much in. Your worms can go off as well if you make a big batch and leave it to sit all day. The worms will go off and actually probably do you more harm than good. So yeah, just a little handful of worm in there all chopped up. Just for a bit of scent in there. So I'll put that to one side of the tub, leave the other clean. So I'll use that bit first with the worm in. So yeah, there we go, nice and simple. Lots of attraction, flavour, scent going through the water column. Obviously these are all going to fall at different speeds. The prawn will sink faster than the maggot, and a little bit of ground bait and pellet slowly sinking through the surface of the water. Lovely, right. Going to redo the right hand rod now, bit of that in there. See if we can nab one. Oh, into a fish. Definitely better than that bream. Oh yes. Lovely. That's just what we're after. Get in, nice little stripey in the net. Yeah, beautiful fish. Absolutely beautiful. Look at him. Good length. I haven't got a tape measure with me, but it's got to be a good 35 plus centimetre fish. I'll weigh him in a second, but I reckon about £1.5 pounds. On the prawn on the bottom. Nice little scrap. I'll rest him in the net, get my weighing bits sorted out and give him a little weigh. So that perch weighed £1 and 10 ounces, which I'm chuffed about because that's a new PB for me. Beautiful colours on it as well. I did try and get some self takes, but this camera's a bit new to me, and yeah, got the time working eventually, but I wanted to get the fish back, so the photo might not be as good as I wanted it to be, but still really happy with that fish. Hello blackbird. So that perch was caught on a raw prawn, full-size raw prawn, just on a hair rig, on my combi rig, and with the method feeder as well. With catapulting in, plenty of maggots and ground bait and pellet around it. I did catch a bream to begin with, went a bit quiet, and then yeah, started getting a few twitches, and off the rod went with that lovely £1 10 ounce stripey. As you can probably guess, I have just moved swims. I'm opposite, I was right over there, across there. I've come over to this side. Might feel that strange after catching that perch, but I gave it another 45 minutes and the swim went dead. Not many fish are showing at all anymore. Recast a few times, got the odd little knock, but nothing to give me much confidence with. I did put a little bit of bait in this swim earlier before I set up down there, and yeah, got 2 hours left or so. I thought, why not give it a go over here? Sometimes you move and it really pays off. I've got a blackbird here, pinched all my little maggots. I'll show you the swim properly in a minute, but basically got a nice reed line just to the left of me here. It's a lot shallower as well. I was speaking to one of the owners, and over there it's really deep, 10 foot plus, right in the margins. So it's not that cold today, it's actually quite mild. So I think a bit of a shallower spot, might pick up a few more fish. So I've put a bit more bait in there, a bit of ground bait, a bit of pellet, a bit of maggot, a couple of areas. So I've got the bottom rod on the left hand side, got the underwater camera back on there, and on the right hand side here, just gonna float fish in the margin, just a single maggot on the size 14, and just see if I have a bit of fun on that. Catch a few roach, maybe some perch on that as well. So I've got 2 hours left. Try this area, see if it pays off or not. Fingers crossed it does. Nice quality roach. Lovely colours on it. Beautiful. It's got some sort of bug on it there. Get off. Get off. Okay. Yeah, lovely. Let's get him back. It's just a little margin of reed sticking out here that I'm fishing the bottom bait on. So I'm not fishing too tight. Probably half a rod length away from the closest reed. Fingers crossed there's a few perch ready to ambush down there. And I'm just going to float fish just off these reeds here. A few bubbles came up actually after I put some bait in. So there might even be a rogue carp lurking down there picking up some of the loose bait. Like I said, let's just see what we can get for this last couple of hours. Right, the move hasn't really paid off as of yet. There are a few little roach and rudd on the float. I think I had one kind of indication on the bottom rod, but there's a lot of robins up in the tree jumping on the rod, so it might just been that. But when I did reel in, my bait was gone, so yeah, maybe I did have an indication. But I think what I'm going to do, I've got about 45 minutes left, so I think I'm going to just kind of pub chuck the prawn out more into the middle, bit of ground bait on the method feeder, catapult some ground bait and maggot around it, and just see for that last 45 minutes I can get a perch from out in open water. If not, it's been quite a nice session. It's been fairly quiet really. I was expecting more action on the float, but you know, a PV stripey, can't complain at that. So yeah, do that now. Hopefully one more decent fish before I have to go home. Right guys, time to pack up and go home. So that brings me to the end of this session. Pretty happy with it. Came here to target a big perch. I managed to get a new PB, 1 pound 10 ounces. But other than that, it has been a bit quiet. I was expecting a bit more action. But really nice to be out for the day. Out on the bank, nice and quiet. Oh. Oh, nearly a last minute fish. Don't know what happened there. Have to look at the underwater camera and see what happened there. But yeah, hopefully I got some good action on the underwater camera as well. Hopefully I got that perch I did manage to catch on the camera. So have a look at that. So don't stop watching. Might be some more footage to come. And yeah, I'll definitely come back down here before kind of start of March, I reckon. It's a nice little place to fish. Obviously some nice big perch in here. So hopefully I can get myself an even bigger one. I think what I'll probably do next time is I won't put the underwater camera on. I think maybe that's hindered me a little bit. I've had quite a few knocks and takes a little bit like that. I think maybe that camera is causing a bit of resistance and weight, and the fish are dropping the bait. So yeah, I think next time I might not use that, but we'll see. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and hopefully I'll catch you guys again soon. My rig presentation had mixed results. At times it was set out perfectly on the bottom with a nice straight hook link and the hook bait being free from debris. Even when a small bream tester prawn, the rig resets itself nicely. However, There were other times the prawn hook bait came close to the feeder where the hook could easily be prevented from being sucked into the perch's mouth. The rig was presented well when both the bream and perch were hooked. The rig was close to being in a nice straight line out to the left hand side when the small bream accidentally hooked itself whilst testing out the prawn. The perch's capture was much more intentional, and the rig worked at the first time of asking when a chunky perch sucked in the prawn. A strong and powerful inhale from the fish. So it's really good to see that the rig hooked fish well and was mostly presenting effectively. However, sometimes the prawn was settling right up to the feeder. This might not be a problem, but there's also a chance the hook or hook bait could be masked by the feeder, or the fish may spit out the hook before the rig straightens and pressure is applied from the lead to help set the hook. So I do prefer the rig to be settling much straighter than on these occasions. The other interesting footage I got was from the eels. I did expect there to be some eels around as the lake is right next to a river. But on 4 separate occasions an eel has come in and tried to eat the prawn. In fact, the indication I got as I was ending the video was an eel running off with a bait. But I think the prawn was far too big for an eel that small to inhale, hence why there was no positive hookup. But next time I fish here, I'll definitely put out a smaller hook bait, such as a bunch of maggots or a worm, to try and catch one of these mysterious creatures. So, some helpful underwater footage there, which I can definitely use to improve my chances next time. And I just think it's really interesting watching what goes on around your hook bait. Until next time, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you again soon.